Well, this is different. Golden Oldies Computer Software Classics Volume 1 with Adventure, Eliza, Life, and Pong. Have fun playing the classics. Play and learn from 4 of the greatest game programs of all time. Of all time. When was this made? 1985. Well, I guess all time at that point was just a little over a decade, but that's okay. Adventure, explore the deep and twisted recesses of Colossal Cave. Only version of Adventure officially endorsed by its creators. Playing adventure games without tackling this one is like being an English major who's never glanced at Shakespeare. And you know, I can actually agree with that. Adventure is one of the original adventures on a computer. This is a massively important game in gaming history, really. I think it was developed on a PDP-10, right around the same time as Space War at MIT. Next up on here is Eliza, which is essentially the pioneering artificial intelligence program on a computer. It's really weird. It simulates a conversation with a psychiatrist. Originally made in 1965, again at MIT. The next one is Life. I've never understood any of the iterations of this. This one was developed in 1970 by John Conway, mathematician at the University of Cambridge. And then, of course, there is the ultra-famous granddaddy of all the modern games, Pong, 1972, Al Alcorn's version. All of this is packed on one beautiful 5.25-inch floppy disk by Software Country. Ran into a bit of a problem on mine since I don't have an actual RGB color monitor. It runs everything in black and white since I run mine through composite, so you will need an RGB if you want to see color, or it works great on a monochrome monitor. They are CPU dependent, so they will run way too fast on anything other than an original IBM, or in DOSBox you'll have to turn the cycles down to about 200. The best part about this software package is the package itself. What makes it unique is that it's not only the classic record-style packaging for some of these discs back in the early 80s, but it is the manual itself. And it's really a book. It contains backstory, making of, information about the games themselves, how to play it, notes from the authors of the game. I mean, there's little bits of information about the creation of Pong. So this really makes the package itself worth it. Now do the games. Well, here we go. It is a very simple bit of programming. There are no graphics in the game. It's all text or ASCII characters or something like that. You have a choice to have an adventure, consult Eliza, explore life, or play Pong. So first, let's just go in order and have an adventure. Basically, it is a text adventure game at its almost finest. This is the original, more or less, so it's a bit simplistic. You really can't use too many commands or parser text bits or anything like that, like some later games like Hugo or something. This one, you pretty much can say go north, go south, or even just go valley if you see a valley. It takes some getting used to, as all the commands are, well, they're not exactly the most intuitive. There's a lot of trial and error. This is my second or third time playing it, so you can get hints if you want to use up some of your points. The hints really don't do too much, so maybe you want to look at them and then start the game over. You can also save your progress at pretty much any point in the game by saving it to a disk, which is pretty cool, especially for the time. I doubt this is an original PDP-10 feature of the game, but who knows? You have all the standard stuff, inventories, using items. I'm assuming you can die, but I never have. Really, I've always liked text games just because there are no graphics. It's only your imagination. So it's like those choose-your-own-adventure games that you get in those children's books, and I love those. I still do. So I love adventure, even though this is an absolutely ancient program. It's awesome. I recommend this. Next up, we have Eliza, the virtual psychiatrist. Now, the game was originally only available on a mainframe computer. Supposedly, this is an awesome version for the microcomputers of the early 80s. Just talk to the computer, telling it things, and then it responds more or less, to what you are asking or saying? Well, a lot of it seems exceptionally simplistic. Like if you'll say anything with the word no or nope or something along those lines, anything that's not a positive response, it'll respond by saying, "Why are you being so negative?" And you know, it's a bunch of little programming tricks which were probably exceptionally interesting for the time, perhaps even groundbreaking, as they say. But normally you just get really aggravated at the game, or simulation, whatever this is, and start cussing it out. So, it really annoys me, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes it just repeats back at you like she's mocking you. So I don't appreciate it. I'm not the hugest fan of this. It's kind of fun to play around with, but that's about it. Next up we have Life. I remember playing this on I don't know, it was probably a shareware version or something. It was on Windows 3.1 called P-Life or Plife. I've never understood this game. It reminded me a little bit of Sim Life or Sim Earth, which I'm assuming is probably what they got the idea from. You place down these colonies, bits of something that are going to become life, and then you watch it go through all the generations, and it will simulate it as fast as your CPU can as the population goes up, spreads out, collapses back in on itself, and eventually maybe sustains its own little part of the universe, which some cells are on, some cells are off. You know, time flow and all sorts of really abstract things that go on. And I've never taken the time to really get into it because, honestly, it just seemed random. Which I guess if you really look at life anyway, it is pretty random. And applying a numerical value to that always seemed a little bit odd to me, since computers can't do random. So maybe it's not random, and I know it's based on some algorithms and things like that, but it just doesn't make much sense why you would want to do this if it's such an ambiguous way of doing it anyways. It doesn't seem like there's much use for it. And it's certainly not a game. So, this is pretty much a loser. Next up we have Pong. Pong is Pong is Pong is Pong. Correct? No. You have Software Country Pong and the original Pong. I'm going to be playing the original here. The problem with this one is absolutely everything. Let's start at the basic part of the game itself, what you can see. The paddles themselves don't move smoothly at all. The paddles themselves don't contact the ball properly. They don't seem as responsive to hitting it on the upper and lower edges of your paddle as it is in the arcade or any other version of Pong I've played. The controls are absolutely horrible. There's a major delay. It tries to emulate a paddle with a keyboard. That's impossible. They shouldn't have tried. You can't explain this any further. It just doesn't work. Software Country Pong is absolutely no better. In fact, I think it's much worse. It's a little bit faster, but the ball is smaller, which does absolutely no help to the stupid controls and bad paddle physics, since the ball half the time will go straight through the paddle. And it's not like on the Odyssey, or at least most of the time, you can tell it hits the paddle. Well, it doesn't. And again, I just can't stress how bad the controls are. They just don't work. So this is an utter failure too. Ha! Utter failure. Does that mean it's a cow? Yeah, that's enough of this. Adventure is pretty cool. Eliza is interesting. Life makes no sense. And Pong is useless. The original oldies may have been golden, but I'm sorry, but this collection is not. They're old, but not gold. More like a very tarnished silver.